This program was made possible in part by the continuing contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Buster Media Group is proud to present high school girls basketball. Today we have for the St. Paul City Conference in an under-the-radar game, but huge implications are on the line in the St. Paul City Conference chase. The Humboldt Hawks host the Highland Park Scots. Humboldt, second in the conference, a half game back from St. Paul Central for first. Highland Park, third place, but one game back behind Central for first place. A lot is on the line, so stick around. You won't want to miss this. Hello, everyone. I'm Mike Peden. I'm off camera at the moment, but I'm glad you can join us for another rendition of basketball. Humboldt, the surprise team in the St. Paul City Conference, and they've been doing it largely with the new coach, Chris Vanderhyde, and the new system put in place to accommodate his first year coaching Humboldt. They play hard, there aren't any off-the-court issues, they have a study table every day, and Chris has emphasized getting the team together more often, having team dinners, again the study table, and the result, he said, great execution, and they've been able to hang tough with some of the top teams in higher classes. Humboldt demoted to Class 1A this year. They were ranked for some time in the top 10, but since then have fallen off the top 10 rankings. They're on the cusp, and a win against Highland could be a big step in bringing them back. Highland Park, they've always been competitive and have finished second the last 2 years in the St. Paul City Conference, but their big problem, they have not been able to win games against quality opponents. Their biggest win this year was against Richfield in December, but the two teams met later on in the winter, and Richfield clobbered them, beating them by 23 to be precise. Highland Park beating the teams they should beat, but not getting wins against tougher teams, and that's why they've had some trouble in the St. Paul City Conference. But I did talk to Coach Deb Williams, and she said Highland Park brings a balanced offense, and that helped in Highland Park's victory against Humboldt on their home court back in January. Time for the keys to the game. We'll start with visiting Highland Park Scots. First, they need to make their free throws. Deb Williams said in the first meeting between these two teams, Highland Park was not sinking those free throw opportunities, and it hurt them. They also need to make others handle the ball. Annessa Hicks, the big player for Humboldt, the go-to player, but in 2 games, Annessa Hicks scored 30 or more points. Humboldt lost both of those games by forcing others to handle the ball, and it's clear Humboldt has some issues when Annessa Hicks is the only player producing. Keys to the game for Humboldt, they need to keep Highland Park off their boards, and that won't be easy. There is a size disadvantage for Humboldt at the post. No one is above 6 feet. Highland Park has 2 players at 6'1". Second, they're going to need to stay out of foul trouble because Highland Park got so many trips to the free throw line in the first meeting. They can do that. Humboldt will steal a win here and set themselves up for a showdown with Central in a fight for the St. Paul City Conference title. Starting lineups will come up shortly, so stick around. Welcome back. We now take a look at the starting lineups. We'll begin with the visiting Highland Park Scots. On the floor for Highland Park are Ashley Morales at guard, Paris Crenshaw at guard, Kianda Nix at center, Silver Morant Stewart at guard, and Yoa Kamu at forward. Kianda Nix, a player to watch, averaging 10.3 points per game. Struggled significantly on offense, though. Only has 2 games where she scored 10 or more points in the last 9 contests. So she's really got to get it going if Highland Park wants to hang tough with the Humboldt offense. Speaking of the Humboldt offense, here's a look at their starting 5. It starts with Annessa Hicks at guard, Leticia Hernandez at guard, Angelina Hicks at guard, Teresa Larac at guard, and Brianna McDonough at forward. To mention Annessa Hicks, the straw that stirs the drink for Humboldt, averaging 20.4 points per game, leading the St. Paul City Conference in that category. Scored a season-high 37 points against Minneapolis South in an 88-77 loss. Several storylines as always, and of course the big one is the St. Paul City Conference race. St. Paul Central leading, but they are off today. Humboldt a half game back, but the important thing is the loss column, not so much the wins, because everyone will have played an equal amount of games when the conference season ends. If Humboldt wins this game, and even if they lose this game and beat Central next Thursday, they will play in the Twin Cities Championship game, something they have never done. And the reason why they could still lose to Highland Park and still advance is Highland Park has won the St. Paul City Conference, Humboldt has not, and the team with the longest drought moves on to the Twin Cities Championship game. So, a dogfight in the top 3 spots for the St. Paul City Conference. And unlike other years, we really don't know who we're going to see in this Twin Cities game. It's a dogfight over in Minneapolis too. South and Roosevelt play each other tonight. They've been tied most of the season with 1 loss apiece, so chances are the conference champions will be decided at the season's final game. There's a band here, so I can't hear myself think. I can hardly hear myself, but it should add to the festivities. Not a big crowd, a little disappointing given the implications of this game, especially for Humboldt. They have never been in this position before. Humboldt wearing their black jerseys, Highland Park wearing white. In a fight for second place in the St. Paul City Conference. That was Paris Crenshaw. She almost went the wrong way, almost pulled a Jim Marshall there, but Camus can't get the bounce. And it's rebounded by Leticia Hernandez. McDonough blocked. Tiana Nix was there to take away the easy basket. Humboldt has the ball though. Highland Park in their 2-3 zone. Catch, release, short by Hernandez, and it's picked up by Morales. If you're wondering about all the names on Humboldt's staff, as we have a scramble and a fight for the ball, jump ball. Possession arrow favors the Hawks. Humboldt, of course, in St. Paul's west side, even though it's geographically south of downtown, known for its large Latin American community. Cinco de Mayo Festival is held not too far from here, down on Cesar Chavez, near Boca Chica. Hicks forced it, couldn't come through. McDonough had the rebound, but she loses it. And here comes Crenshaw. Crenshaw can't get it to fall. Rebound, no putback. Camus fights for it. Goes to Highland. 3 chances, nothing, as McDonough picks it up. Silver Moran Stewart had a couple open looks, couldn't drain them. Highland now switching to the man defense. And the Humboldt gym becomes eerily quiet. McDonough, open look inside, too strong. Humboldt, the reason why they're tied with St. Paul Central, as Crenshaw's play is broken up by Annessa Hicks. Humboldt beat Central at Central earlier this season. Not an easy thing to do. Of course, it benefits, as we have a kickball, benefits that St. Paul Central, a weaker team than they have been in, for the first time in many years under Coach Willie Taylor. I don't think they were as weak as they were, as a Hicks avoids the 5-second violation. Since I can remember, Angelina Hicks will have a basket to remember as she gets Humboldt on the board with the first basket. Humboldt took advantage of that, beat Central on their home turf. Hicks for 3, no good. We'll be watching that story. I'll explain it in a minute. Right now, we have an open Morales, and she drains it from the left side. Hicks brings up the ball. Forces it, no good. Rebound and the putback by McDonough. McDonough averaging 9.8 points per game, so she's no slouch on offense. This is Moran Stewart. Can't get the bank. McDonough almost had it. Instead goes to Nix, but she can't put it down. Foul on Highland Park. And I mentioned the key storyline, Annessa from the 3-point line. There are 3 conference games left, including tonight's. And as it stands, Annessa Hicks is 5 3-pointers away from setting the all-time conference record, currently held by Jody Lubline of Harding and Cretin-Durham Hall. Cretin was a member of the St. Paul City Conference at the time. Of course, Lubline now an athletic director over there. McDonough almost had it. Moran Stewart with the board. Here comes Morales on the right side, puts it down. 15-16, tied at 4. Hicks. Blocked by Nix. Crenshaw is open for the taking. Cherry picking. Crenshaw puts Highland Park in the lead. Highland playing their man-to-man, but we really haven't seen an up-tempo type game in the half-court offense. Humboldt playing a similar offense to Minnesota, pass the ball around, and that's often the result. Disrupted passes, and Minnesota's had a lot of that this year as they've fallen off the cliff, metaphorically speaking, last in the Big Ten Conference. Nix in the paint, muscles her way through, and gets the right-handed layup. Highland Park with the early lead. Highland Park, again, if they win this, they will stay within second place and force a tie with Humboldt, which could really shake up the St. Paul City Conference race, as we have an open Crenshaw again. Not this time, rebound McDonough. Humboldt would still go to the Twin Cities game by virtue of not winning their conference. We have a three, no good from the rock. But on the record books, it would be listed as a three-way tie, which means we could have co-champions, and that's if Humboldt beats Central next Thursday, and Highland keeps their conference hopes alive. Highland losses both to St. Paul Central. The foul was on Camus earlier, her first. New players in for Humboldt. Ball lost to Moran Stewart. Alexis Clark is in the game, number 15 for the Hawks. And we've got a foul. It will be called against Lachey Holt. Lachey and McDonough, the tallest players Humboldt has at 5'10". In other words, I'm taller than they are. The Humboldt crowd starting to expand now. Holt picks up her first foul. Nix, backdoor to Camus. Can't get it, but Morales has an open look, and she'll go to the free throw line. Highland Park with a 4-point lead as we see our first trip to the line. Morales averaging 9.8 points per game, not far behind Kiana Nix. Again, Highland, not much of an offense, and it's been this story for years, beating teams that are weaker than them, but not getting wins against quality opponents. And Morales can't make her first free throw, and Deb Williams told me that was an issue from the first go-round that kept Humboldt in the game. Second one's clean. We have a timeout by Humboldt with 13-17 to go. Makes sense now, get a timeout in. Work some things out, get things organized, and keep Highland Park from blowing an early lead or blowing up an early lead, especially with the importance of this. So we mentioned Jody Loveline leads the St. Paul City Conference for most three-point field goals. Janet Cleese is next, ironically from Highland Park. She set that mark from 99 through 02. Annessa Hicks will take second. Well, technically already has second, going for first. So Hicks surpassing Janet Cleese this year. And then next down the line is 58 from Denise Isle and Tambra Cotton. So you got to go back a little ways. And it's clear who the sharpshooters are in the St. Paul City Conference when you look at most career three-point field goals. Thierra Taylor also on that list. Sasha Barnes, Essence Tyler, Abby Gust, Ayana Hicks was on this list. Of course, Annette passed her light years ago. Alex Moore, a lot of smaller players in the St. Paul City Conference, but sharpshooters, essentially the unsung heroes. Ironically, one person not on that list, Kiara Buford, who's known for her perimeter shooting skills. Pass is stolen by Tamara Curtis, but she can't get a handle on it. Goes to Crenshaw. Crenshaw almost broken up, but she fights her way through. Scott's opening to a 7-point lead. A win at Humboldt on the road would be big and would give Central some cushioning. Clark threw it up there, traveling violation on Highland Park, so Humboldt got away with one. It would give Central some cushioning, but they would still have to beat Humboldt on the road to ensure that they would play in the Twin Cities game, and more importantly, host it. The St. Paul champion will host it this year. Angelina Hicks can't bring it down. She gets her own rebound, finds Annessa for three. Well off the mark, and it goes out of bounds. Humboldt 11-7 overall. Highland Park 10-11. Nix has it. I thought we were going to have a foul. For three, Moran Stewart, bullseye! So Highland Park gets a first three-pointer against a team known for their three-point shooter. Clark again, blocked by Nix, but it goes out of bounds, so Humboldt will retain possession. Nix already 2 blocks in this game. McDonough and LaRock coming back in, replacing Santana Castillo and Clark for the Hawks. LaRock for three. Humboldt three-point shooting, not up to par, and that's going to leave an open Highland Park player. Can't bring it down, but look who's there for the cleanup. It's Morales. Pasha Crenshaw had an open shot, couldn't drain it. Turnover on Humboldt. Highland Park getting ready to blow this game out of the water early. This is a game that Highland Park won by 8 when the first time these two teams met. And they were ahead by just 1 at halftime. Humboldt in a funk. They need to get out of it. Highland Park hitting on all cylinders as Ashley Morales adds to a point total. And Chris Vanderhyde will take a timeout as a few Highland Park fans in attendance are celebrating the Scots' fast start. 11:22 to go. 18-4 is the score. And we want to remind you, you want to order a copy of this game, visit us online at bustermediagroup.blogspot.com. bustermediagroup.blogspot.com. Nix already showing the mismatch that Humboldt has at the post with 2 blocks. Nix 6'1", again the tallest player at Humboldt is 5'10", and I think that's a little generous. Well, keeping Highland off the boards will not be an easy thing to do, as Hicks is having a hard time finding open targets when she inbounds the ball. When you're Humboldt's top player, sometimes that happens. Holt could not handle the pass, and it's picked off. Moran Stewart has it. Curtis resetting. Pasha Crenshaw to Nix. Nix out to Morales from the corner. Air ball picked up by Hicks. 2-on-2. Hicks weaving her way through the defenders and gets the layup. An awkward fall though, but she appears to be fine. We'll see if that gets Humboldt out of their funk. Humboldt playing a man defense. Nix, mid-range, gets the bank. 20-6, Highland Park. Annessa Hicks looking for Angelina for three. Short. She gets her own rebound. Bounce pass to Holt, and she draws the foul. Hicks wanted a traveling violation, and I think she did because the foul will likely be called against her. It will not go against Nix. Instead, it will go against Morales. That's her first personal, and Humboldt takes their first trip to the free throw line. This is Lachey Holt, 5'10", freshman. First one's good. As we see Leticia Hernandez stepping back in the game, replacing Angelina Hicks. Annessa and Angelina, younger sisters of Ayanna Hicks, who's playing Division III basketball at Hamlin. All are daughters of Benny Hicks, who was a basketball star at Mechanic Arts. And he comes to every game. Crenshaw couldn't handle the pass, and we have a timeout for Highland Park with 9:52 to go. 20-7 is the score. A little more about Annessa Hicks. She does have some offers in Division II basketball and Division I junior college. U of M, Crookston, and Concordia St. Paul are taking peeks at her in Division II. And at Division I JUCO, it seems to be a path a lot more players are taking if they don't necessarily have the academics, or they just don't have the finances, or not the offers they're looking for. They'll spend the first couple of years at a junior college before transferring. That's exactly what happened in Minnesota with China Antoine. She's done some big things, but not doing much to help the Gophers, as they have free falling this season in a year where they were expected to finish third in the Big Ten Conference. There's a disappointment this year in the Big Ten. It has to be with the Golden Gophers. Holt won't be disappointed with that play. She gets the rebound and the over-the-back call against Highland Park. Fouls against Pasha Crenshaw, her first, fouling pretty clean so far. Angelina back in the game. Traveling violation. I don't think it would have mattered. Angelina did not see where her sister was on the court, and Annessa was hurrying to get across the timeline. So it would either have been a traveling violation or a backcourt violation. In any case, it's a turnover, another chance for the Scots to capitalize as Nix gets double teamed. They find an open Scott. She can't put it down. That's Morales. And Angelina Hicks with the board. Annessa tries again, and he's short. And it goes out of bounds. Annessa Hicks struggling against pressure. Both Hicks sisters scored 19 points in the first meeting against Highland Park. But Highland Park countered as 4 of their players scored double figures. Morales, she forced it, hoping for a foul, won't get it, but Nix is there to clean it up. For Highland Park, it's all about using Nix to her advantage and the lack of size at the Humboldt post position. Hernandez gets bumped, and that's going to be a foul. Tamara Curtis will be called for it. Her first personal, 14 foul for the Scots. They have 2 more to give. Curtis tries to make it up with the pick, but it goes out of bounds. Leticia Hernandez will inbound it. Angelina working off the screen, gets around Nix, count it! That's the key for these smaller Humboldt players. None of the Hicks sisters are taller than 5'4". That includes Ayanna, who's at Humboldt. But they have speed, and they can use it to get around Nix, as Angelina just did, and now she has a 3-point play opportunity here. The foul is Hicks' first personal for those keeping score. And the free throw is pure. Substitutions coming in for Highland Park. Yoa Kumu's back in the game. So is Moran Stewart. And she has an open look, but Highland Park content to set up their offense. Crenshaw finds Moran Stewart. This time she'll take the open three, and she drains it. Highland Park with the answer. Angelina Hicks slows things down. Highland Park was looking for a fast break steal. Annessa. One basket so far. Instead finds an open Holt. Annessa found the party open in the back door. And if you're not contributing in this point total, one way you can contribute is to use yourself as a decoy. And we're going to have a foul against McDonough. She made contact, trying to go for the steal, and you'll get take for a foul. Actually, they do not call a foul. They just call it out of bounds. I thought there was contact. This time, McDonough's pick works. She gets it off a Highland Park player to ensure the turnover. And the Humboldt fans still excited. Annessa Hicks, the target's been on her all game. Top of the key, bullseye! Hicks with her first three-pointer of the game. She is now 4 away from getting the all-time conference record. Nix with the answer, yes. Nix using her power to muscle a basket in. 27-15, Highland Park leads, but Humboldt is now starting to get baskets to fall. We'll see if that gets a rhythm going on offense. Annessa Hicks double team, works her way out of it by herself and gets the left-handed layup. Annessa Hicks showing her speed, running by 2 defenders. And with speed like that, who needs help? Nix, mid-range swish. Humboldt want to get back in this game, you gotta stop Keonda Nix. She is owning the court. That's for 2 from Hernandez, that's short. Open look, but perhaps a little too quick, because now you leave Paris Crenshaw open, and she doesn't miss too many of those layups. Annessa Hicks. She got her way around a double team. Works off the screen this time, but that was short. Again, Hicks having some difficulty with players in her face. She needs those open looks to contribute. Kumu, open look. In and out. Rebound Holt. Angelina finding Hernandez for 3. That's too strong. Hernandez just not finding her stroke from behind the arc, but Humboldt will get bailed out with the foul against Highland Park, and that is key because the Scots are now out of fouls to give. With 5:55 to go, Humboldt will now be in the bonus. The foul is on Silver Moran Stewart, her first personal, but Humboldt may have some opportunities here to make it up in the free throw line. They almost do. McDonough to LaRock for 3. Bullseye! Humboldt, they've been keeping the distance about the same, and that's fine for now if you're Humboldt, as Crenshaw with the long 3, no good. Rebound, fight for it, and it will stay with Highland Park. It's fine if you're Chris Vanderhyde, because the important half is the second one. The first half, just trying to get a feel for things. Crenshaw was open for a second, but again, Highland Park content to run their sets. Crenshaw Nearly loses the ball. Fight for it. It will be a jump ball. Possession arrow favors the Scots. But give credit to Humboldt, making Highland Park worry a little bit. Highland Park with some dynasty of their own and some legend to their name on girls basketball. One of their alumni has a connection to the U of M. I'll get to that in a second. Hicks has not been taken out all game. Morales to Crenshaw. Highland Park. Now they get the look they want. Air ball. And the ball will go to Humboldt. So to finish up that story in Highland Park, one of their alumni, Tracy Buckman. Tracy Buckman had some big years for the Scots. Took them all the way to second place in the 1986 Class 2A state tournament. But you might know her better as Tracy Buford, the mother of Kiara Buford, who went to St. Paul Central and now playing for the U of M. So Highland Park can claim they have a pretty big connection to the U of M, even if their players aren't likely to go there. Angelina Hicks for three, yes! Humboldt now starting to cut the lead. It's an 8-point deficit, and Deb Williams instinctively calls timeout with 4:38 to go. 31-23 is the score. The Hicks sisters now starting to turn things on. Annessa using her speed to both evade double teams and use herself as a decoy. Angelina, though, not doing bad herself. 14.3 points per game. Chris Vanderhyde told me before the game, Angelina complements Annessa's skill set. Of course, all three sisters know each other quite well, since all three of them were basketball players, and their dad was too, for Mechanic Arts. Humboldt, unsung heroes really for the St. Paul City Conference. And we have a traveling violation on Camus. She got tripped up. And that's not a good combination. Annessa Hicks has the ball at the top of the key. Looks for an open Clark, and Clark is blocked by Nix. That's her third of the game. 4:17 remaining. Hicks has the ball. Highland Park going to their zone. Holtz to Clark. Clark gets the roll. And the Humboldt fans get louder with each successive basket. They cut the lead to 6. Morales looking to stop the Humboldt run. Can't do it. Rebound, Angelina Hicks. Gets around Nix. Goes to LaRock. LaRock struggling from the three-point line. She does have the one basket. Humboldt almost saves it, but it goes into Camus' hands. Highland will try to go on the fast break. And we have a foul on Humboldt. They did have 3 to give, but the Humboldt fans aren't happy about it. Vanderhyde's not happy about it either. Moran Stewart's going to go back in the game for the Scots. Humboldt, they could use all the support they can right now. They've faced a lot of obstacles in the last few years, largely enrollment problems. Not getting enough students to fill their capacity. Now forced to go through restructuring this year. Highland Park draws the foul. It's a push, and that will send Curtis to the free throw line. Humboldt, a lot of monkeys on their back, and so if the girls basketball team could win the St. Paul City Conference title, it would do a lot to their morale. The boys soccer team won their first conference title in school history a couple years ago, but soccer doesn't quite have the following basketball does, as Curtis makes her first and puts an end to the Humboldt run temporarily. Girls basketball not getting the following that it has in previous years either. Not as many players, or not as much talent this year as there was in previous classes. But to Humboldt, a conference championship is a conference championship regardless of the sport, and they'll take it. Humboldt known a little better as we have a double dribble violation on Clark. Humboldt a little better known for their adapted sports programs that won state titles in soccer for 3 straight years and has won 2 softball championships for the adapted level. Curtis loses the ball, or that's Morales who lost the ball as he tried to drive it in. Annessa Hicks closely guarded, but that leaves an open McDonough. You can't leave players open because 9 times out of 10, they'll put it down. Humboldt cuts the lead to 5. They have not tied or led this game. Well, they have tied. It was 4-4. That's the last time they were close. Highland Park with the end one. Morales will go to the line for a 3-point play. And now the foul's starting to rack up for the Hawks. With 2:38 to go, we would like to remind you that at halftime we will have our first half analysis for you. Humboldt also has 3 floor hockey state championships in the adapted level. No 3-point play for Morales. And if you don't know what that means, adapted sports are sports designed for the physically or cognitively impaired. McDonough, she's open, but Nix was in her face, but LaRock is there to clean it up. (34-29). Hawks fans doing what they can to get their team in this match. Morales on the left side, can't get the mid-range J, and LaRock has the rebound. Clark is open. She would like to get one for some catharsis, but she can't do it. Fouls called against Humboldt. They're out of fouls to give now. It's against Clark. And that's not something you like to have on the resume, missing the basket and then getting a foul called on you. Nix, short range. Drains it, 36-29. Hicks off the screen, short. Rebound tip to LaRock's hands, but she's short, and Nix is there to pick it up. Humboldt making this game interesting. Annessa Hicks breaks up the ball and the play. She forces the turnover. She came in a little late to pick off the pass, but she gets in there just in time to disrupt the handle. And Hawks force a turnover. They are making things interesting when it looked like they would go away. Humboldt almost loses it, but LaRock is there. LaRock working her way through, can't get the tough shot. McDonough picks it up, can't clean it up. Rebound Nix. One Humboldt player trips, and that leaves an open LaRock to pick up the steal. One of the Highland Park players tripped up. The other one went back to see what was going on. That opened the door for Humboldt to get the steal. Hicks can't get the bank. McDonough, holy cow, she has done a lot inside, putting down second chances, and we're going to have a foul against Humboldt. Critical because Highland Park is in the bonus. They do not call a foul. I thought they did. Angelina Hicks just couldn't get the steal in time. We have 43 seconds. Nix is open if she wants to. It goes to the back door to Morales. She can't bring it down though. Annessa Hicks is open. The fans are getting louder. Annessa Hicks draws the foul. I said Humboldt looking for any support they can get, and the fans that are here are cheering loudly for the Hawks. They know it would mean a lot to get a conference championship and the right to play in the Twin Cities game. And Humboldt, they didn't do too badly against both South and Roosevelt earlier this year as Annessa Hicks makes her first. Next one makes it a 1-possession game. It was ruled a shooting foul. so she would have had 2 attempts anyway. Second one's good. It's a 1-possession game, and for Humboldt, that should give Chris Vanderhyde and his squad a lot of confidence going into the locker room. Highland Park nearly throws it away, and now they force a tough shot. Hard to do with 3 Hawks in your face. Humboldt could hope for the final shot. They could tie it up, and how big would that be? The first time these two teams met, Highland Park had a 1-point lead going into halftime, pulled away in the second half. Annessa Hicks, right-handed layup is good, and just like it the first time, unless there's some miracle shot here for Highland Park, and there won't be, they go into the locker room. Did that count? It does! That counts! A half-court shot. I thought it wasn't going to get off in time, so Highland Park steals the thunder from the Hawks. A 39-35 lead going into the locker room. The play of the game in the first half at least, but give credit to Humboldt. They were trailing by double digits, and they make this a 4-point game. We'll take a break and come back with our first half analysis in a moment. Welcome back as Buster Media Group proudly presents high school girls basketball. Want to order a copy of this? All indications suggest this should be a close game. Visit us online at bustermediagroup.blogspot.com, bustermediagroup.blogspot.com. In-game box score for you, Highland Park. Ashley Morales leads the way with 13 points. Kiana Nix is next with 12. She's averaging 8.4, already eclipsed her scoring average, using her inside presence to score a bunch of points. Paris Crenshaw's next with 6. Silver Moore and Stewart has 6, and Tamara Curtis has 1. Humboldt, the Hicks sisters are leading the way, as you might expect. Annessa has 11, and Angelina has 8. So they're already more than halfway towards their scoring average. McDonough's next with 6, LaRock has 5, and Alexis Clark has 2. But the key play of that first half was that 3-pointer. I thought it wasn't going to go in, but lo and behold, I was wrong. I usually am. I didn't think Highland Park was going to get that shot off in time, and instead of a 1-point lead going into the locker room, Highland Park made it a 4-point lead. This is the half that counts. Humboldt will inbound. Humboldt in black, Highland in white. 39-35. That's Leticia Hernandez. She loses it. McDonough went up backwards for the layup. 3 chances for the Hawks, and they all fall short. They cannot afford another slow start to this half. There's only so much time you have in order to make it up. Of course, Central fans, Morales for 3, no good. That's a little strong, but it's brought down by Moore and Stewart. Central off tonight. I don't see too many Central players here, but we've got a foul on Humboldt. But I imagine Central players and fans are all cheering for Highland Park, because if Central can hold against Humboldt next Thursday, it means they will go on. But it also gives them a little more room for error should something happen on Tuesday. Warren Stewart gets the first basket of the second half for the Scots. This is Annessa Hicks to McDonough. McDonough has the play broken up, goes off her leg. So Highland will get the ball back. It would give them some cushioning, but it would also create some issues, because Highland Park could then tie. Possession's going to go to Humboldt. Ball went off Morales. Highland could tie, but again, Humboldt would be the victor if they finish in any sort of tie for the St. Paul City Conference. Annessa Hicks, top of the key, drains it! Behind the men's NCAA line, she brings the game back to 3, and she's now 3 trays away. Angelina Hicks with the steal. She's by herself, and she'll make that Highland Park deficit 1, or the Humboldt deficit 1. Highland Park wasn't ready for that. Humboldt brought it down to 1 in the second half before that Last second three from half court. And now they could take the lead as Leticia Hernandez picks up the miss. Humboldt has not led all game. How big would that be? The fans got crazy when Humboldt made that run. McDonough nearly loses the ball. Scramble. And it will be a jump ball, and that will favor the Scots. (41-40). That foul was on Angelina Hicks, her second. Foul trouble, not an issue yet. That's Paris Crenshaw who gets the mid-range jumper. Kind of a floater. Here's Annessa for three again. She's on fire! And the game is tied for the first time since 4-4 early in the first half. If Hicks makes another three-point basket, she will tie Jody Lubline's record for most career three-pointers. Can Morales get the answer? Off the mark. Humboldt can take the lead again. They have tied it up. Angelina Hicks going for the lead. She draws the foul, and she'll get two shots. The Hicks sisters, a ton of speed. Highland Park not able to keep up. This could be the comeback of the season in the St. Paul City Conference if Humboldt can secure the win. But Angelina Hicks can't make the first free throw, and we see Tamara Curtis stepping in, replacing Paris Crenshaw for the Scots. Angelina makes the second, so Humboldt does get their first lead of the game. Here's the question, can they keep it? Foul on Angelina Hicks, make contact. Gets a word from Chris Vanderheide. Foul is Angelina's third, and she's done some damage early. She has 10 points already, but she'll step out for a while. I'm not sure when we'll see her again. But Humboldt, they rely on the Hicks sisters to do their stirring on offense. Warren Stewart can't drain the three. Ball will go to Humboldt. 15 minutes to go. If you just joined us, Humboldt was down by as much as 16 in the first half. Slowly clawed their way back, got a big run to close. Highland Park got that three to push the lead to 4, but now Humboldt has a 1-point advantage. Hicks with the steal. Highland Park has numbers. Morales throws it up, and she did it to draw the foul. She'll get two shots. Morales, 9.8 points per game, as we mentioned in the first half coming into tonight. She already has eclipsed that total. She now has 14. She now has 15 to give Highland Park the lead back. Annessa Hicks with pressure. Kicks it out to Clark. Humboldt will reset. It's clear Humboldt is looking to find a way to make use of Hicks. And Nix with the block. That is her fourth. If Nix could put up those kinds of numbers every night, Highland Park could very well be in the conference title race too, but I don't know if a lot would have to happen for them to secure it. Highland Park going for the save. I'll give credit to Camus. She did what she could. Both teams doing well and getting second chances. Humboldt doing a little bit better in putting them in. And that's why they fought their way back. Hicks, she has 17 points. Won't get more yet. Saves it, finds McDonough. McDonough gets over Nix, but she might have put a finger on it. Humboldt losing some rhythm without Angelina on the floor. McDonough goes for the steal, but the out-of-bounds line's her enemy. Holt is going to go back in the game. She did some big things for Humboldt when she stepped in the first half. And now Vanderheid's going to send Angelina back in. But Angelina has to be careful. She has 3 fouls, and Highland will look to utilize that. That's Morales for 3. Can't get the bounce. And she had a screen, too, to work off of. Ball will stay with the Scots. Nix has been on the floor the entire game so far. Angelina with the steal, and you see what she does on defense, which as soon as she came back, Humboldt wanted to travel, but Curtis steals it right back, and they cancel each other out. Nearly loses it again. Angelina went for that steal. She has that speed. Nix double teamed. Nix out in the corner. That's not her space. And she nearly loses the ball, but Nix picks it up. Humboldt can't seem to catch a break. Nix, tough shot, doesn't fall. Rebound LaRock, wrestles it away. And Angelina will settle things down. Leticia Hernandez, right side. So shots aren't going in, and they can't clean it up. Holt had it. Humboldt releasing a little too quickly when they go for those layups on the baseline. They need to get that kiss off the glass and not throw it up and pray for the best. Coleman was looking for Nix, but the release was messed up. And now Angelina Hicks brings it down. She'll settle it down, almost loses it. Now she's open. Swish! Long two is good, and Humboldt takes the lead back. So that mishandle works in Angelina's favor. Angelina has 12. Humboldt fans getting back into it again, and that's not what you want to do. Highland will silence the crowd as Curtis gets her first field goal of the game. Back and forth now. But you see what Angelina has done just by coming back in the game. When she was out, Humboldt looked a little lost on offense. And we're going to have a foul against Highland Park. And Angelina's going to step back out for a moment. Take a breath or two. Clark is back in the game. Hicks from the corner, bullseye! She has tied Jody Loveline's all-time record for most career three-pointers in the St. Paul City Conference. More importantly, she puts her Hawks up by 2. That's their largest lead of the game. Nix with the answer. Nix doing everything tonight. She has 14 points. Annessa Hicks has 20. She is already at her scoring average. She can put up big numbers if she's given the chance. She put up 37 against Minneapolis South, traveling violation on Humboldt. She put up 33 against Stillwater, but in both those cases, Humboldt lost. So it's not about how many points your big player gets. It's about making sure you get more points than your opponent. Humboldt, we see them doing a half-court set, but Nix is open. She's going to the line. Foul looks like will go against LaRock. And it is. So Nix will go to the line. She has 14 points. Dominated the post in the first half. And that's what Highland Park has to get back to win this. But as soon as she gets that ball, she gets double teamed. Nix gives Highland the lead back with that free throw. Pasha Crenshaw in the game now. Nix can't drain the second. And LaRock is there for the board. Annessa, she's double teamed too as soon as she gets the ball. So LaRock will try to make something work. It doesn't happen. And it's picked up by Morales, who now hands it to Paris Crenshaw. Paris had 6 points in the first half, does lead the team in scoring, but again, has come up short later on. Charge! Holt with the charge. Call, and Highland Park commits a costly turnover. Morales had an open look. Holt instead puts the charge on her card. Annessa Hicks trying to go around Nix, and Nix with her 5th block of the game. 5-2 against 6-1. Nix will get her first breather of the night. In her place is another 6-1 player, Kiara Creer. Highland, a very young team, 2 juniors and 1 senior on the roster. Hernandez can't bring it down. Holt can't either. Humboldt not doing well with those short-range layups, and that's not going to help the cause by committing fouls on the other end. So that will put Pasha Crenshaw to the line. The foul is on her LaRock, her 3rd. 9:52 to go. 50-49 is the score. And Pasha can't put the first one down. I mentioned Highland Park, a young team, 1 senior and 2 juniors on the roster. The seniors in now, Kiara Creer. The 2 juniors are Malika Wiley and Diamond Moran Stewart, and none of them start, so you can tell that Deb Williams is looking to build towards the future with her roster, given all the freshmen and sophomores she has. And Highland has done pretty well. She said on some nights they play older than their age, and sometimes they play Annessa Hicks. Well, that would have been incredible if she made that work. Humboldt gets the rebound. Leticia Hernandez tried to throw it up against Creer, but that's not going to work. Holt is there, and she puts it down. Humboldt with a lot of fight in them as they take back the lead. It's 51-50 for 3. That's Morales. She can't do it. And a foul against Highland Park. (51-50). It's clear both teams know the implications of this game. Whoever wins will likely be assured of second place, although that doesn't provide much consolation. There's no interleague series like there is in football. But this game will be more important for Humboldt than for Highland Park, because they don't want to share a conference title. They want it. And we've got a foul against Creer, and that will put Alexis Clark at the line. Clark has 1 layup, but she struggled most of the night. Highland's hoping to force a share of the conference if Humboldt can beat Central, but again, they need some help. Humboldt, they don't want to share a conference title. They want it to themselves, as Clark can't get the bounce on the first free throw. Silver Moran Stewart going into the game, replacing Morales. Morales throwing up threes all over the place, not many of them falling. Clark's second is too strong. Neither team doing well from the free throw line when it counts. Next week, of course, the final week of play in St. Paul City Conference action. And then sections start. That's Creer, too strong. Rebound McDonough. McDonough had some second chance putbacks in the first half. Hernandez, struggling most of the night, goes to Hicks. Hicks has range, but I don't think she'll try that far. No, she drives to the right side, but she's struggled with those layups when contested. And she forces a traveling violation. Annessa Hicks. She has some defensive skills of her own. And Vanderheide will call a timeout. Not a bad time for it. 51-50, 8:13 to go. And Highland Park showing that they can play with teams at or below their level. Again, the key for Highland is winning against teams that are better than they are. They aren't able to get those quality wins against tougher teams. As the PA announcer mentions Hicks tying the record for most three-point baskets, Hicks needs one more to break the record. Highland Park, as I mentioned, young team. They're not necessarily forfeiting this season and looking ahead towards the future. They're not doing bad this year, but they're looking to go with a younger team to build some experience. Because Highland Park, I don't think they'll be taken seriously until they beat a top 10 team or at least a quality team that plays to a better level than they do, whether it's at home or on the road, neutral site. Highland Park, not known for beating teams stronger than they are, and that's what you have to do if you want to win big. Humboldt beating St. Paul Central, still first in the St. Paul City Conference, getting that quality win. Hernandez for three, too strong. Not her shot tonight, but Holt with the putback on the right side. It's that fight from Humboldt, and Crenshaw, she throws it up, and it's blocked by Holt. Humboldt fans getting louder, they know what's at stake. Hicks for the record, short. Rebound Crenshaw, Hicks almost picked it off. 7:39 to go, so still plenty of time for Annessa Hicks to break that record. She may not be a Jason McElwain in terms of the feel-good story, but hey, getting the record for most three-pointers, that's a good enough. Nix, with her muscle, picks up her 16th point of the game. It's a one-point game again. You can tell Highland Park missing that presence of Nix, but Humboldt not being able to pull away by much. And Highland Park not doing much to keep Annessa Hicks from running up the score. Hernandez blocked again by Nix. Nix owning the paint tonight. And they'll bring in LaRock again as Hernandez will take a seat. Not a good night tonight for Hernandez. LaRock from the corner, no good. Highland Park ball, 6:58 to go. 53-52 is the score. The fouling situation, if you're keeping track, is even at 5 apiece. So both teams with one foul to give. Can Humboldt play some D? While Highland Park escaped with a road win. They won against Humboldt on their home floor in January, but it's all hogwash now. Open three for Crenshaw, and that was too high. That would have been big, but instead McDonough picks up the board. Hicks, you know they'll contest her closely. McDonough runs out to her, runs off the screen, goes, and a kick ball. Possession will stay with the Hawks, though. Holt may have had an open look, but the play was whistled dead, so we'll never know. As Alex Trebek would say, or as we paraphrase, that play will remain hidden from view. But I tell you, won't be hidden from view. A winner, key positioning in the St. Paul City Conference. Angelina, with the player in her face, finds the mid-range jumper. It's 55-52, Humboldt. They put this game out to 3. That's their largest lead of the game. They've matched it several times. They would love to make it 2 possessions, but instead Holt will get called for the foul, and that's Humboldt's last. So now Highland Park will be in the bonus from here on out. Foul's on. Holt, that's her second. They send in Clark in for McDonough. Camus in the game for Highland Park. As they tape up Nix, so Nix got a little banged up, so she'll have to sit out for a little bit. We'll see what Highland Park can do. They don't have any, they do have Creer in the game, so they do have one big player up there. But Morales doesn't need a big player for help. She'll make a basket on her own. 55-54. Hicks, she struggled, but she's going to the line. I was going to say she has struggled with those layups. She has done well from three-point land, draining 4 of them. But now she'll go to the line for free throws. The foul is on Moran Stewart, her 3rd personal. Both teams out of fouls to give. 5:50 to go. This will be key as Hicks makes her first. Hicks eclipses her scoring average. In all but one game this year, she has scored double digits. Drains the second. Unofficially, she has 22. Kumu going to Crenshaw. She draws the blocking foul. That's a shooting foul, so Highland Park will have a chance to put this back to 1. Pasha Crenshaw at the line. Not liking the taunting from the Humboldt fans, but you can't worry about what other fans tell you during this game, as she misses her first. She's letting the Humboldt fans get to her. And you can't do that. When you're at the line, and it's difficult to do, you can't simulate crowd noise, but you must put comments from opposing fans aside and focus on that netting. Because she misses her second, but Kumu, well, she had it, but she didn't have good positioning for the putback. Angelina Hicks has the ball. Humboldt has not led by 2 possessions at all this game. Each basket is critical, but she loses it to Paris Crenshaw. And Pasha's open again. She's going back to the line. The foul will be on Annessa Hicks. Pasha missed her last 2 free throws. The foul is Annessa's second, so Annessa safe in terms of the foul count. Pasha misses again. She's missed her last 3. As we mentioned in her last trip, she was a little shocked to hear some fan negativity from Humboldt, and I think that's getting to her head. She finally makes one, and they'll send in Kianda Nix now for the Scots. Nix with 5 blocks. Highland loses, they're out. Well, they're not out of the playoffs or anything like that, but if Highland loses, they'll be out of the hunt for a St. Paul City Conference title. Traveling violation on Clark, she's not happy with that. Humboldt loses, they still could get a share of the St. Paul City Conference title if they hold their own and beat Central on Thursday at this gym. Humboldt has to be careful, that could have been a foul, but instead Hicks is open, and she'll drain the layup this time. A lot easier to make them when there aren't players in your face, and for the first time this game, Humboldt takes a 2-possession lead. We have a timeout on the floor. Deb Williams calls it. 59-55 is the score, 4:55 to go. Annessa Hicks unofficially 24 points in tonight's contest. And a decent crowd for the Hawks. Again, Humboldt, not a large school by enrollment, but they haven't been able to get the students they could have. Enrollment not often meeting capacity compared to other schools like Harding, Johnson, not Arlington, Central, Highland, where they often have crowding problems because that's where a lot of students go. But what would this mean for Humboldt if they could win a St. Paul City Conference title, get to the Twin Cities game, and get some catharsis, something to feel good about, something to cheer for. And for players like Annessa Hicks and Angelina, who were here at Humboldt with the old coach, Mario Sierra, now playing under new coach, Chris Vanderhyde, and the new system he brought in, they're meshing well. Chris really likes Annessa's leadership skills. And he said her three-point numbers were a little bit down this year, but that's because she got more aggressive inside. Camus draws the foul. Again, both teams out of fouls to give, so we have more free throws coming. The fouls against Angelina Hicks. That is her fourth. And that's going to force Vanderhyde to bring her out for some time. Leticia Hernandez will go back in. But Highland needs to get the job done for the free throw line. Camus taking a lot of time. And she misses. So Leticia won't be able to sub in for now, but she is ready. Angelina has to be careful. She has 4. Camus, not good form on that free throw. Hicks can't bring it down. Holt, Clark cleans up the mess. 61-55. The crowd is loving it. They would love to get back at Highland Park. This is Nix from the free throw line, swish. Nix stops the bleeding momentarily, but Humboldt still has a 2-possession lead. And Angelina has to be careful. She's sitting with 4 fouls. Humboldt has to be careful because now Highland's in the double bonus. Although they haven't gotten it done from the free throw line still. You don't want to give your opponent free attempts. The Rock can't get the kiss off the glass. Ball will stay with the Hawks, and now Hernandez will step in to replace Angelina. My guess is Vanderhyde will use Angelina in an emergency situation. Tamara Curtis is back in the game, replacing Camus for the Scots. Annessa Hicks, she has tied the conference record for most three-pointers. I don't think she's worried about the record right now. She wants that record. She got it! She has it! Annessa Hicks, a record-breaking night for her. 27 points, and she is now in first place for most three-point field goals. Next, she doesn't care about records, but she can't get the basket to fall. Moran Stewart going to the line, but Highland has struggled like they did in the first game. Highland has struggled from the free throw line, but more importantly, Annessa Hicks brings us out to a 3-possession game with 3:21 to go. The comeback of the year, potentially, for the Hawks. At the season we're in right now, it certainly would be, down by 16. But Vanderhyde has instilled a lot of fight in his program. But don't count Highland Park out. Silver Moran Stewart makes her first to make it a 2-possession game. And that is key. Nix has come up big for the Scots, but Moran Stewart can't get the second free throw. Again, Nix has come up big for the Scots inside. She has 5 blocks, but it's hard to stop the perimeter threat of Annessa Hicks. And this pass is stolen by Paris Crenshaw. There's still plenty of time. Highland doesn't need to force a 3. They go to Nix inside, and what was I talking about? Nix owning the paint. That is her space, doesn't matter where she is. Annessa Hicks, double team. She does get across the half-court line. Hernandez going inside, loses the ball to Crenshaw. This could be a 2-point, 1-possession game. But Humboldt is there to break up the pass, and Annessa Hicks picks it up. Again, Humboldt with that fight. Going for steals, deflections, anything to give their team a boost. Highland Park preferring to go more inside. And we have a timeout for Humboldt, and a good one, 2:21 to go. Humboldt in the double penalty, although Highland Park has struggled from the free throw line. 2:21 to go. Again, St. Paul City Conference implications on the line. A win for Humboldt, they'll move into a tie for first place. And the PA announcer confirms what I already know and what you already know. Annessa Hicks to a jubilee from the fans and her older sister, Iana. The all-time record holder for most three-pointers in conference play. But more importantly, a win for Humboldt, they stay tied for first place and set up a showdown for Central for the right to play in the Twin Cities game on Thursday. Highland, if they can find a way to fight back and win this, they can get at least a share of the St. Paul City Conference title if Humboldt can beat Central on Thursday. In any case, it's doubtful Highland will get to play in the Twin Cities game, but to get a St. Paul City Conference title, or at least a share of it with their young roster, would be a huge boost for them. Humboldt, a St. Paul City Conference title would be something to cheer about, and Humboldt, you can't exactly write them off for state to contenders either. They're down in Class 1A, so they're not facing stiff competition like they did before in 2A in the last couple of years. Not to say 1A isn't bad, but the 1A class not as deep as 2A, 3A, 4A, and we have a 5-second violation on Humboldt. That 5-second call in place because there's no shot clock. This game isn't over. For as many things that have gone right for Humboldt today, this game's not over. That's because Highland Park has dominated inside. That's where they go again. But Humboldt, they're going to make Highland earn every point they get at this stage of the game. It's 64-60, 1:40 to go. A great contest inside the city limits of St. Paul. The foul's on Annessa, and that will send Paris Crenshaw to the free throw line. Highland in the double bonus. The foul's Annessa's third. 1:39 to go. She's not in terrible foul trouble. Angelina is one away from fouling out, but this could be big because Highland can make this a one-possession game if they make at least one. And they do. Highland taking advantage. Humboldt had some missteps. Highland can't get the second one, so it's a three-point game, but they cannot take the lead, and Humboldt has the ball. They double team Annessa Hicks, but they get it across half court. Highland also in the penalty. And Annessa Hicks draws the foul. It's a 1-on-1 situation. Hicks has 30 points, or 27 points unofficially. The foul is on Curtis, her third. But more importantly, as we mentioned, Highland in the bonus. It's a 1-on-1 situation. Hicks drains the first, and that's big because it's now a two-possession game again. Anything Humboldt can do to extend the distance against Highland and make them work for more than one possession is a boost right now in their favor. Annessa makes two. She has 29 points. 1:24 to go, 66-61. Annessa Hicks is going to step out of the game. My guess is Vanderhyde is using a defensive substitution. Annessa could just be tired out too. Moran Stewart can't get a handle on the ball, and Alexis Clark finds an open Angelina. And this game is now 3 possessions. That might do it for the Hawks. The fans are loving it. Hicks next can't get it to fall. LaRock has it. And a jump ball, but possession will point to Humboldt. And Vanderhyde will send Annessa back in, so it was a defensive substitution. 59.2 seconds to go. Players of the game, pretty obvious. I'll get to that in a second when we have a stoppage in play. But I think you know who our players of the game will be for both teams. We'll bring them up here to do an interview. Annessa with 29 points. Finds LaRock. Humboldt, they don't have to do anything. They have the lead. They can kill the clock. They will force Highland to play foul and chase. LaRock content to hang on to it. 37 seconds. Highland, they have to foul, and now they do. That puts Angelina at the line. 34.9 seconds to go. Our players of the game for Humboldt. Annessa Hicks with 29 points. 5 3-pointers, good enough for the all-time record in the St. Paul City Conference. Player of the game for Highland Park, Kianda Nix. It appears Humboldt will win and remain tied for first in the St. Paul City Conference. But Kianda, tremendous presence inside. She got 5 blocks. did everything she could tonight to put the Scots in a winning position. But ultimately, it came down to free throws. Humboldt make theirs, Highland did not. Humboldt also winning the battle of second chances. And they'll get another shot at St. Paul Central on their home court for Thursday. And likely the right to play for the St. Paul City Conference title and the championship. Angelina makes both. It's a 9-point game. Humboldt will go to 12-7 on the year. Morales for 3 in and out, won't matter. Angelina comes up with it, but it goes back to Highland Park. Highland Park will fall to 10-12 and will be out of the running for the St. Paul City Conference title. But give credit, this is a young roster. Again, none of the juniors or seniors on this team were starters, so Highland Park will have plenty of experience for the next couple of years. Foul will go against Angelina Hicks, so she will be disqualified. But not a critical juncture of the game with 22.6 to go, unless something funky really happens. So Angelina Hicks fouls out, but I don't think Vander Hyde or anyone else at Humboldt's complaining. You see the fan base standing as they get ready to celebrate a split with Highland Park, but that split's important, as I mentioned several times before. Hicks is at the line. Tremendous presence inside. She gets the first free throw. Muscling her way for baskets and coming up with big blocks to take advantage of Highland's size at the post. But in the end, it's those second chances that cost them. Hicks makes both free throws, and Highland Park will take a timeout. It's still a 3-possession game, though, with 22.6. So here's the setup. As we mentioned, Thursday, Central and Humboldt. That will likely be the game to decide the St. Paul City Conference title and the right to play in the Twin Cities game. And at the end, with 22.6 to go, we will try to get both Nix and Annessa Hicks up to the booth to join us for a post-game interview. A great job by both players. Annessa Hicks coming up big when she had to, in a game where Humboldt needed to come up big to stay alive in the St. Paul City Conference hunt and control their destiny. Annessa Hicks looking to break 30. She has it. An exclamation point for Annessa Hicks tonight. 31 unofficially. Nix for 3. No good. Humboldt can start celebrating now. McDonough will look to pad her stats. A huge win for the Humboldt Hawks. And look at Annessa Hicks. She's getting congratulations from all her teammates, and I imagine she'll get some more from her coach and everyone else here at the Humboldt staff. What a night for Annessa. What a game. This was a great game, played all the way down to the wire. Humboldt, the comeback of the year in the St. Paul City Conference, going down by 16 early, but not giving up, and they'll win by 9. Final score, Humboldt 72, Highland Park 63. Humboldt keeps their first place tie, and look at this. Annessa is stormed by all the fans, getting a big hug from her supporters. We will do our best to bring her up for our post-game show. 72-63, Humboldt goes to 7-1 in the conference, tied for Central for first place, sets up a showdown next Thursday. Highland Park out of the running for the conference title, but nothing to hang their heads about. We will take a break and come back with Keonda Nix and Annessa Hicks. Stick around. Mike Peden here with the players of the game for Humboldt. I know we talked about Annessa's big night, but we don't want to count out Angelina too. Both Hicks sisters accounting for 50 of Humboldt's 72 points. Annessa, we'll start with you, 31 points, and now the record holder for most three-point field goals in the St. Paul City Conference. Any emotion? What were the emotions going through your head?
Just keep working hard. Like, don't give up. You got to keep working. We were down 18-4 in the beginning. I just thought to myself, we got to get back in it.
20-4 is what I had unofficially. So you were down by 16. So you said you had to get back in it. So how did you get the rest of your teammates to chip in? Because they were big on those second chances and those free throws.
You got to support your team no matter what. No matter if they miss a shot, no matter if they turn over the ball, you got to support them.
What does it mean to be the record holder for most career three-point field goals in a category and in a sport where Humboldt hasn't had much to talk about for quite some time?
It's an honor. I mean, no one really knows about me. I'm just the average girl on the block, I guess.
Well, now everyone's going to know about you now after this big night, and one of them is standing next to you. So you had a big night yourself, so tell me, you were in foul trouble a little bit, so what did you do to get Humboldt back from that 16-point deficit?
I just had to keep my head into it and not let the other team get to me.
And what does this mean for you? You're tied for first with St. Paul Central, setting up a likely showdown for the right to play in the Twin Cities game. What does this mean for the Humboldt program, who have been up there, who have come close many times, but have never been in this situation before?
It's very important to us. We get a chance to do what we always wanted to do.
And what does it mean to have your sister break a record, and again, in a category where you don't hear a lot of Humboldt players?
It's great. I'm proud of her.
And what is going to happen with you being a senior, graduating, and Humboldt down to the last Hicks stitcher? What's that going to mean for you?
I just got to work hard and keep the team together.
All right, I'm going to do a couple quick things for you. I'm going to put you on the soapbox. Is there anything you two want to say to each other about tonight? Because this was a huge win, and if there's anyone else you want to say hi to in the audience that might be watching. I'll start with you, Angelina.
Thanks for supporting Humboldt.
Who would you like to say hi to?
My family and friends, and my sister right next to me.
And you?
Just everyone that supports us, my family especially. I think I had about 15 family members here today, so that's good too, and thanks to everyone.
And I think about all 15 of them ran and gave you a big hug as soon as the game was over. Congratulations on your record-breaking night, and who knows, we might see you in the Twin Cities Championship game.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Hopefully. Yes.
Angelina and Annessa Hicks of St. Paul Humboldt. Mike Peden here with the Highland Park player of the game, Annessa Hicks. Annessa, not quite the outcome you were hoping for, which means I'll have to wait till next year to get a conference title. But you had a big night tonight, 5 blocks, and so how did you handle that Humboldt press?
Well, we just tried to move the ball up the court in transition and then look for me in the paint.
Now, you beat them, Humboldt, on your home floor, so you split the series with Humboldt. I know that's not much consolation, but what does this mean to be playing competitively with most of the St. Paul City Conference teams with the young roster the Scots have?
Well, they're going to have to watch out for us next year and a couple more years because we're coming.
You were up by 16, and then that's when Humboldt turned on the afterburners. So what happened at Highland Park's end that turned the outcome against you?
We kind of slowed up. We thought we were okay since we were up by so much, but we shouldn't have let them back in the game.
Now the season's not over. There's still a couple games left in the conference, and then you have sectional play where you're the 2nd seed, Hill Murray the top seed. So how do you use this game to work on the next week and section play when it's one and done?
Well, now we know what to work on. We need to work on our transition, moving the ball up, getting less turnovers. So we're going to work on that in practice and then come out strong.
And I'm going to pull Drew Carey here, ask you if there's anyone you want to say hi to in the audience that might be watching.
Hi, Mom and Dad.
She had a great game. Highland may not have won, but watch out for Annessa Hicks. She's going to do big things in the next couple of years for Highland. Thanks for speaking with us, and who knows, perhaps we'll see you back here next year, and maybe you'll be St. Paul City Conference champions.
Yeah, thank you.
Annessa Hicks of Highland Park. That will do it from here. Again, the final score, Humboldt 72, Highland Park 63. Humboldt moving to 7-1 in the conference, 12-7 overall, and tied for first with St. Paul Central. Come back here on Thursday for the showdown between them and St. Paul Central for the right to go to the Twin Cities Championship game. It's going to be a lot of fun. For everyone here, this is Mike Peden. So long, everybody.